discussing the rest of the Gravekeeper support coming out of Soul Fusion. And we got quite the number of cards. We got 4 cards, and I think they're all pretty decent for the most part. So let's just jump right into the overall dissection of this archetype. The first card we got here is Throne of the Necrovalley. It's a normal spell card, and you can only activate this card once per turn. It has one effect, which you can activate which you can activate one of the 2 effects on this card. The first one is add 1 Gravekeeper's monsters from your deck to your hand. That's pretty good. This means you're no longer reliant on Spy or Recruiter to be consistent. You can play 3. I think you play 3 of this card just for the first effect. The second effect is immediately after this card resolves, normal summon 1 Gravekeeper's monsters from your hand. This card is probably that effect is probably going to be less useful than just straight up searching a Gravekeeper's monster, but it's still very, very good. I think like I said, you play 3 of this card because simply put, its consistency. It allows it, and the best thing about this is that it does not require Necrovalley to exist already, which is kind of inherently, which is inherent in some of the cards like Imperial Tomb and I think Hidden Temple. Both of those cards require Necrovalley and a Gravekeeper monster to be on the field. This doesn't require any of that. That you just straight up search up a Gravekeeper monster, and it's really good in that scenario. So I find this very good. So yeah, there's nothing more than I can say about this. I think you play 3 of this card, it's very strong. Next card here is a trap card. We got Sacred Temples of the Necrovalley. It's a continuous trap. The first effect is while a Gravekeeper's monsters and or Necrovalley is face up on the field, all monsters your opponent controls lose 500 attack and defense. That's not necessarily terribly relevant, but I guess it's better than nothing. The problem with Gravekeepers is the fact that they don't really have that many big monsters that are consistently viable. Visionary and Oracle and Priest are not very strong cards. Priestess, I think her name is, the level 5 with 2000 attack is also not very good. So this just gives Gravekeepers a better option to beat over your opponent's monsters with than they used to. I think you probably still play 1 Oracle because it is a decent card, but they're not consistently like very good cards. So. The second effect is once per turn during either player's main phase. If you control no card in your field zone, you can activate 1 Necrovalley from your hand or graveyard. This is very, very good because if your opponent just happens to kill your Necrovalley, you can be like, well, I don't control a field spell anymore, therefore I can just get Necrovalley back at any time. This is very good for decks against decks that rely heavily on the graveyard, because that means you could just straight up negate their cards by just playing a Necrovalley for basically nothing. So it's pretty good. The third effect is if this card in your possession is just destroyed by your opponent's card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can set 1 Necrovalley spell trap directly from your deck, except this card. That's pretty good because it gives you free access to Imperial Tomb, which means I think at this point you only play 1 Imperial Tomb, despite Imperial Tomb being very, very good. But you also have Solemn Judgment, which granted isn't searchable, but still is probably stronger than Imperial Tomb. But having a method of summoning or setting Imperial Tomb, as well as other Necrovalley-esque cards, you can set the one we just talked about, Throne, and basically activate it later when your opponent destroys it, which is very good in my opinion. So it's actually pretty good. I think if I don't like traps in general, but I think in this scenario, I think you might play 1 of this card because of the fact that it is lets you set Necrovalley or activate Necrovalley for free, and if it dies, you just set any other card that has Necrovalley in its name. So that's really good. Additionally, you can also set Necrovalley in your field spell zone too, so that's also worth mentioning. The second, we have 2 monsters here. The first one is Gravekeeper's Cleric. It's a level 3 Dark Spellcaster effect monster with 500 attack and 1500 defense. The stats on this card are not really that relevant because it's just for the first effect. The only effect that it has is really good. And it reads as follows: you can only activate it once per turn. If this card is summoned, you can target 1 level 4 Gravekeeper's monster in your graveyard, special summon it in face-up attack position or face-down defense position. This card is unaffected by the effect of Necrovalley. So basically, this card allows you to tutor out from the graveyard, recruit or or Spy. Allows you to set them. That way your opponent, either if they attack into it, you just get a free summon or a free search. Additionally, you can summon like you can summon Descendants. You can summon what you can also do is you can also discard I can't remember its name, the card that searches Necro Valley, that card, and then you summon this card, you normal summon it, and then you have Necro Valley on the field, and then you have essentially a monster with 2100 attack, and you got it basically for free on top of the fact that they have this card as well. You can make links with that. It's pretty easy to manage with it. I think you could play like your Witch's Apprentice retrain, or you could play your policewoman. But this is a very good card. Think you might play 2, if not you play 3 of this card. Definitely play a ratio of 2 or 3 of this card because it is very good. Also, additionally, it works if you special summon it from the graveyard with its other cards that work with it, like Priest or like Priest, I think. Commandant is the card that I was thinking of, by the way. And we have Gravekeeper's Spiritualist, a level 4 dark spellcaster effect monster with 1500 attack and 1500 defense. Only one effect. If Necro Valley is on the field, you can fusion summon 1 spellcaster fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as fusion material, including this card on the field. This specifically states spellcaster fusion monster, so theoretically you can summon other spellcaster fusion monsters, which is not bad. But mainly you're going to be summoning the Gravekeeper fusion, which isn't as strong as it should be, but it is decent enough, I guess. If you're going to go the fusion summon route, I think that is fine. I think you play 1 or 2 copies of this card, so it's not terrible at the very least. I think it's okay. Overall, the badge of support that we got for Gravekeepers is really good. They've really been trying hard to make some really good cards for some really old archetypes, and I'm not going to say that this batch of support makes Gravekeepers competitively viable, but it is a step above what they are currently normally at. Now, if we could only get Book of Moon to 3 to promote Spy shenanigans, that would be pretty fantastic. But we'll have to wait and see how that goes. So if you guys did enjoy, please leave a comment in the comment section down below. I will see you guys in the next video. This has been Shitstone and Lance, signing